How do I make my parents understand that class averages being low isn't because STEM students are stupid? This is on our engineering students. I've tagged this as a rant, but it's more of an open discussion. I love my parents, and this is a legitimate question to make them understand my perspective. Since they didn't have anything higher than a high school diploma, they don't have the references to understand that no, it's not because the class's averages can be low that the students are not good enough and will make bad engineers. Whenever I say, especially since I'm in my first year and taking the intro courses, oh, this math class had a 45% average, but it's not abnormal for a tough class, they understand it as more the students being the problem, and that the schools will graduate subpar engineers that won't be good enough. Which makes sense from an outside perspective. If the grades are low, then we'll be having bad professionals, whatever the field. Basically, the problem is that the students, since according to their reference, and my past grades, good grades means 75 and above, and a passable 60 to 70, but 50 and lower is very bad. I tried to argue that the material we learn is very, very dense and complex, with a big time management issue, and also mentioned that a lot of learning comes after graduation, but my dad didn't seem very convinced. Any other convincing argument that will make them understand this reality better? Sorry, because I'm kind of translating these questions as I'm reading through, because I'm trying to turn things into sentences while I'm reading them. I'd say, first of all, why do you feel the need to explain this to your parents? I'm guessing that if a 45-degree average is good, that means that your professor is probably curving the exams, and then so the 45 is not what shows up on your transcript. Are your parents asking for all your grades? I mean, they don't. It's because they're paying for your college. I can understand the pressure to talk to your parents about your grades because maybe they're paying for your school, but if they don't understand, then maybe they don't need to know. You can say, hey, how'd you do in that exam? Oh, I was above average, or I was below average, So I think that my grade will end up here. I don't think you're going to ever be able to really convince them because, as you said, they don't have the context. You've already explained it to them. So if they don't get it, given the context, then they just don't get it. I guess I could say some nonsense about, engineers learn stuff on the job, but if they don't get it, they don't get it. If they don't get it, they don't get it. And I just really wouldn't. I talked to my parents about grades a little bit, but I didn't get down with them in the weeds about that kind of stuff. They didn't really know about what my grades were going to be that semester, unless I wanted to tell them about a particular exam, which sounds like you did. But for the most part, they didn't know until after the semester was over. Because, there's a lot of variability in grades. There's a lot of variability. One of these people commented, a lot of times parents can feel insecure when we see our kids surpassing us, and that it's a weird dynamic because we, as parents, we want to give our kids a better life than what we had, but then when we succeed at that, it feels very unfair. And we try to not let that show, but sometimes it leaks out in weird ways. So maybe that's a little bit of a parent insecurity thing. I don't think so. But the best advice I saw on here was that just stop talking to your parents about grades that they don't understand. And if they really don't understand, this person says, hand them your textbook. So, and maybe that'll help. So, thanks for watching this segment of the Engineering Success Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All those things really help me out. They boost me up in the YouTube algorithm, and they'll help other people see this great content. Make sure to recommend the podcast to your friends. You can listen to it on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts content from. And make sure you leave me 5-star reviews, like all my videos, and consider subscribing on Patreon or Anchor. All those things help me out, and I really appreciate it. Catch you next time.
Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.